Have you ever noticed in yourself a tendency to minimize your own needs? To not cause a fuss and keep the peace at all costs? I'm telling you that this is reflective of codependency, the main symptoms of betrayal. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about giving up ourselves, just neglecting what we're supposed to be doing for ourselves. And that means taking care of ourselves health-wise, making sure that we're going to the doctors, making sure that we're mentally sound, that we're going to see a therapist, and not becoming somebody else's therapist just so that we can get out of our own mess or not feel so regrettable. But one of the main devastating effects of growing up in a traumatic, neglectful, or otherwise chaotic environment is the pattern of self-betrayal. And we see this a lot, and we see it a lot with what they call now self-sabotage, right? And self-sabotage, whether you guys know it or not, is the intentional betrayal to yourself. You intentionally do it. You intentionally set yourself up to start to betray yourself. It's pretty scary. It's pretty bad. It's leaning on those ideals or things that we give ourselves excuses or a way to loophole out of self-sabotaging ways, self-denial, ways of not allowing ourselves to have a great life. The excuse, well, this is all I know how to do. Well, no, it's not. Because if you choose to continue the same way, you're choosing to stay that way. You're choosing to stay doing the same thing over and over again and not educating yourself. Life is always a learning curve. You're always learning something. You're always growing. So being in an environment that's unstable and invalidated, you grow up with certain attachment issues that are relatable to, your rationale of supports. You can send the message, right? This can send that message to your brain subliminally of our emotional needs to ensure our safety and security, right? That we're young, when we're young and vulnerable. So you kind of start taking in these messages that, hey, we're supposed to please everybody. So in order to keep the peace, because there's arguing, you go into your room as a small kid or a young kid or a teen, and you be quiet. And that becomes your attachment behavior, right? You bring it up when you're an adult, when people start to argue. You start fawning, or you start to run away, or you start to fight. You do something to protect yourself from what you felt before. See, trauma causes a lot of us to view others in different ways. And it's most of the time we see them as if they're not going to be able to meet our needs. And I'm going to tell you, they don't have to meet your needs as an adult. You have to fulfill your own needs. And if you want something in your life, maybe, just maybe that person can give that to you. But your needs are always met by you. I see so much emotional behaviors, emotional summations, emotional decisions, because trauma has taught us to stay where we are. Keep doing what we're doing. Keep being with the person that's not supporting you. Keep staying in a job that hurts you every day, and you're traumatized every day. Keep staying in that support system that bears you nothing. Keep staying in organizations, churches included, that do not bear you any good fruit, does not help you grow, that takes from you. And listen, it's intense. When you come home and you have to debrief from these organizations and say, well, you know what? Such and such said this today. I don't think I better keep that. I'll get rid of that because that really wasn't supposed to happen in that forum. Well, think of it like this. If you're at a hospital and all of a sudden a party breaks out and nobody is being cared for, and it gets a little chaotic and the nurses are drinking and they're partying and the doctors are partying, but no one's being cared for. That's not supposed to happen in that forum, right? Well, if something that's not supposed to happen in a forum happens, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you not to be part of that space. We have to be so very careful about protecting our space. A lot of times I hear my clients, and I've even done this, I became a martyr for Christ's sake. And I hate to tell you, I don't see nowhere Christ was a martyr. I don't see nowhere he was a martyr. He might have been court-martialed for something, but he didn't offer himself up, take me and kill me. So I don't see where, being a martyr is a great thing. What are you accomplishing? Who are you accomplishing it for? When you're being a martyr, who are you accomplishing when you say, hey, this person did so much for me, but I got to stay here and I got to be their footstool? What are you accomplishing? What are you doing? What are you missing, more than to say accomplishing, but what are you missing? Staying in relationships with people that do good. And all you can say is, I see the good in them. That's not your job. It's your job to see the good in them. It's for them to see the good in themselves and bring it out. Not your job to make sure it comes out. Not your job. It isn't. You got to make sure that you're using all of what God gave you. That means your intuition, And when this soulish behavior comes up that you're making excuses for not taking care of yourself, for neglecting yourself, for neglecting your health, your teeth, your skin, your legs, your vaginal care, any of that stuff. And for men too, it's not vaginal, but for taking care of yourself in general, everybody. Take care of yourself. Not seeing the doctor. And yeah, you may not like the one decision or something he or she says. Yes, I don't say take the person's first approach, but I do say advocate for yourself, but go and know what's going on in your body. Know what's going on. Don't just take, I have diabetes, and go on and just keep eating what you're not supposed to be eating. Or, I am a big girl, and just keep eating things that harm you. Listen, I'm not advocating to know what you put in your mouth, but I'm telling your body tells you what you're not supposed to be eating. It tells you every time, which is so bad because we do soulish things to our body and our body's talking to us and we refuse to talk to it or listen to it. What are we doing? We are self-betraying ourselves. We're betraying ourselves. Allowing someone to monopolize on our time, we're betraying ourselves. Instead of saying, hey, listen, I got 15 minutes for you, bud. Yeah, I really do. And not calling people out for wasting your time. Yes, you can do it nicely, but and for an example, I had a meeting with someone last week and ended up getting in the meeting. There was like 3 or 4 people, and I was like, wait, what is this? Like, is this an interrogation? And it was like, oh, we wanted to, bring other people in as a learning experience. I said, listen, I ain't nobody's project. this is a waste of my time. I made an appointment with you. If you would have said, can we bring so-and-so in, I would have brought somebody in and made it a party. But we will never pick Edna's brain. We will never get in a situation that I feel like I'm interrogated. I'm surrounded by somebody else at a meeting. And sometimes you have to advocate for yourself. Not sometimes, always. The first thing that you have to do regarding these patterns of self-betrayal, they're small shifts. Easy. Advocate for yourself. Instead of putting everyone's needs before your own, and then what you do in the process, you start fostering resentment. You start getting mad. Like, I've been doing this and doing this and doing this, and then you're going to ask me to do something, now I'm mad at you. When I know that I'm supposed to be there, but I don't want to be there because I've given you all my time, and now you're aggravating me. You build up resentment when you do things over doing things for yourself, for other people. And I'm not talking about your children, I'm not talking about that. Sometimes it can be at a certain age. I'm not talking about something that's important. I'm talking about just doing something and knowing that, this is not a good situation, and you never advocated for yourself. You never said, hey, you need to do this too. Or, hey, you got to take some of this time. Learn what your needs are. The biggest issue around the self-betrayal is that we don't know what we need. Have no idea. We have no idea what we need. We have no idea. We know what other people need. We can ask other people what you think I need. You can, look it up on Google and see what you need. But you have to know what you need. Really know what you need. And then you have to get those needs met effectively, meaning not by any outside source. Period. You have to put yourself in action in order to make those things on the outside of you be effective, because they're resources. They're not the source. Hold two different things. Number 2, take responsibility for you and only you. I notice in a lot of relationships, sometimes we feel we have to perform. Sometimes we're walking on eggshells, around that supervisor who's got a trigger temper, or you always want to please them because they can go off at any moment, or they have this power that we think they have. And we're walking around like that. Or we're walking around with our spouses, and we don't want to upset them for the day because they've had the hardest day. They don't have a job. They don't have this. Walk on eggshells around them. And then we have to put on the face, I'm happy, and you fake. Or you perform with friendships, feel uncomfortable with certain things, getting yourself involved in a lie. Your friend is telling the whole complete lie. Yeah, you say. You're getting involved in it. Take ownership of that. Take ownership of what is not yours. For years it's been a standing joke when I was going to church that I was the one that wouldn't cook. And I always said, no, I was too busy. I always thought about myself, because listen, I was coming from work, then going to church, and had kids to get dressed, blah, 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 then take care of Sunday school class. I didn't have no time to do all that. So I opted out of cooking all the time. Now, I never said I couldn't cook, right? I just opted out. So it was a standing joke in the church, Edna can't cook, Edna can't do this, that. First time I had a dinner party, everybody came, and they was like, you cooked all this? And my daughter walks up to him and is like, yeah, we're not dead. She cooks, she just chooses not to. So before I knew it, I had gotten angry when that person said that to me. But I let them get away with it for so long, and I should have nipped it in the bud way back, whether I was a standing joke. So you get it? What are you taking ownership that is not yours? I'm taking ownership that, hey, I'm not a cook. I take ownership of that, and it really isn't true. So I let the lie go on and on and on, and that's part of taking responsibility only for you, you know. And then there's times when we're wrong in a situation, and we won't admit it. We've done some crapola, and we won't admit it. We won't say, here's my part in getting fired. Here's my part in getting this bad review. Here's my part of this relationship ending. Here's my part of this friendship ending. We won't do that. Own what is yours. Number 3 is a very hard task for most, but it's practice setting boundaries. One of my first boundaries was no, and with no explanation. And then I often wanted to because I started feeling bad, but I had to start with no, with a period. And then through the process, when it became not so challenging, I would say, I'm not doing this because I didn't come here to do that. Or no, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like driving. Or no, I don't want to do that because it takes too much of my energy. Or no, I don't want to do that because I have something else planned. And I don't want to cancel that for this. Practice setting boundaries, because even when I was having those anxieties, I practiced. And I would come home, and I know you've done it. When you said no to somebody, come home, I can't believe this, and I can't believe it, but you got to understand, and you're vacillating all this stuff, right? So those are the anxieties around it, because you feel so, you feel so guilty because of your trauma. You have to rationalize everything. You have to please everybody and deny yourself. You're so used to doing it. You have to stop it. 4, make and keep daily promises to yourself. I kept promises to myself, and one was every day that I would meditate and exercise. It's been 1 hour doing that. And when I was in a full-time job, I would say I'm taking my lunch. I'm not going to neglect myself. Or I'm drinking enough water. I would drink enough water. Whatever the practice is, setting your daily intention actually and sticking to it, and make that promise to yourself that your life is going to be better. Promise myself no sugar. Haven't done it. This is almost 8 years now. No, it is 8 years. Promise myself to, read the labels of everything and make sure that everything that's going in my body is good for my body. I keep that promise to myself. Just simple things like that. Simple things to change your life. So now that you have some of those ideas, the points that need to have been said for you, and you see, you see the correlation of that's around relationships. A lot of what we feel emotionally all have to do with relationships. So if we don't have a great relationship with ourselves, how in the world are we going to have a great relationship with someone else? We're always being hurt by other people because they didn't come up to your expectations, or they said something you didn't like, or we get upset. And I had a situation where in my friendship of mine, I had to say I didn't like what you did. And right now I need a break. And that person couldn't understand. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I can't do this, we've been friends. Listen, I need a break because you obviously don't understand how you made me feel. And I'm telling you, and you're still not understanding. That helped me because I didn't want to betray my feelings because they show up. But instead of having an effective conversation, even if the other party doesn't understand, they have to soon understand, right? They have to soon understand and get, I know what I did, and be responsible for that. So take this process that I'm talking about today of self-betrayal, how trauma and self-betrayal are connected, and take this information and start to work on yourself. Trust the process of your journey. And if you need some, help to better understand self-betrayal and its impact on your relationships and even with yourself, sign up for a 30-minute consultation with me. I'll help you connect, and I'll help you be able to get more trauma-informed care so that you can continue this journey to heal and grow. I hope I said something that's helpful to you. My name is Edna White, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.